I'm Anne.
And I'm Monica. And this is the episode. I got blanked for a second. This is the episode where we play the roasting movies by the fire game.
Ooh, that's actually clever. I like that.
This is the first time I've ever thought of one before we did the episode and not just come up with it on the spot.
Good stuff.
So welcome back to roasting our annual, second annual Valentine's Day roasting movies by the fire. Can you believe it's been a year since we reviewed Malcolm and Marie and To All the
Pride
Boys?
and Prejudice? No, To All the Boys 2.
Three.
Oh my god.
2 was our very first episode.
Oh my. I'm Dookie is what we're learning.
But that's crazy.
No, that's crazy.
1 year since that? That does not feel like it was a year ago.
That cannot be right. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
No, something's wrong.
But yeah, if you missed it, last year for Valentine's Day, we did a double feature, Roasting Movies by the Fire, where we talked about Malcolm and Marie and the third To All the Boys movie.
Yes.
So now we're back. We're not doing a double feature this time because Lord knows we don't have the time. But we are back reviewing a romantic movie in honor of Valentine's Day. But when you're listening to this, Valentine's Day will have already passed. But currently, now, it is not Valentine's Day yet. So we're meeting in the middle, I guess.
Exactly.
So, love is in the air. And
Valentine's week,
It's
whatever.
Valentine's week. So, yeah. Basically, if you couldn't tell by the title, today we are reviewing The Hating Game.
Ooh.
Which is a romantic comedy movie that arguably I think nobody is really talking about.
Nope.
But it is something that both me and Anne have been anticipating for a while. I
think book universe is the only people talking about it.
I don't actually. I feel like I haven't heard anyone even from like book circles
not that
talking
much
about it, which is kind of like, I was like, okay. I thought we were looking
follow a lot of
it.
like romance book people, so they are talking about it. But you're right, like the more general book talk
not
or
as much.
book YouTubers that I have, they're not even talking about it. Like, so passing. It
which is strange because the book is very popular.
Yes, it's
among
like
book people.
Like if people tell you like, oh, romance book starter pack, like that's one of the movies that people
and like
talk
even
about.
though it's not a book that everyone loves, it's still a book that everyone talks about regardless. So I feel like I thought more people would be checking out the movie in general and talking about the movie in general. But anyways, if you didn't know, The Hating Game is a movie that just came out like a few months ago, like 2 months ago. It's not a very recent movie, but it's based on a book by Sally Thorne called The Hating Game, obviously. And they just recently did a movie adaptation, and it's starring Lucy Hale and some other dude that I don't know his name.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Some guy. just some guy. And basically, we're gonna be reviewing the movie. I don't know about you, Anne, but I kind of decided that I want to do this movie review on the movie itself and try not to critique too much like the intricacies of the plot that are directly from the book, because then I'd just be critiquing the book.
I see that.
You know
I
what
only
mean?
have one point about that, but it won't be too in depth.
Yeah, because if you want, like, I could talk about the story, like the actual plot, like the plot details, a lot. Like I could do a whole episode on that, but then eventually I would just be talking about the book because it's not like the movie that created this. You know what I mean?
No,
and I have stuff to say about the movie rather than the plot. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to focus this more on, like, this is a movie review, not a book review. So I'm trying to like keep it that way. That's just me, but I mean, you can if you
I'll speak like small to it. I'll speak.
There's a lot of stuff to roast.
Yeah, I'll speak to the adaptation point, but it won't be like super booky. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely, because it's kind of hard when you're reviewing like a book to movie adaptation. It's like you can be like, oh, the plot is so dumb, but it's like, well, that's the book. Yeah. So like obviously they're not going to change it because that's what happens in the book. Yeah. So yeah, I think I have enough stuff to say that has nothing to do with like the what the author wrote. Yeah. And rather than what the movie people did. So that's just my little disclaimer, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. So if you didn't know, which you probably didn't, because I feel like unless you're really into like book circles, you probably haven't heard of this book. Maybe you have, but maybe you haven't read it. But essentially the meat and potatoes, I guess, of the plot is so we have this girl named Lucy and this guy, which is funny because the actress's name is also Lucy. Funny how that works out. This girl named Lucy and this guy named Joshua, and they are both assistants to the CEO at this company, basically it's like this. It used to be this one book publishing company called Gammon. They were like very big on the arts and like publishing like really great books and like basically like, you know, the type
they're
type
very
B,
literary
whatever
people.
And then there was also another book publishing company called Bexley Books, which is more type A, like they're all about money and sales, you know, sales and all that stuff, and they had to merge because of like recession and like bankruptcy or whatever. So they have like the company has basically two CEOs now, which were the previous CEOs, and each Lucy and Josh are the assistants to the respective CEOs. So Lucy is the assistant to like the Gammon CEO, and Josh is the assistant to the Bexley CEO, and they kind of reflect their personalities too. Like Josh is very stoic, you know, numbers, like OCD analytical, type of thing, analytical, and Lucy is more like free spirited, whatever. Wears red lipstick, I don't know, quirky girl, I guess. And they hate each other. That's what, you know, that's why it's called The Hating Game, because they quote unquote hate each other and they're like basically rivals. So the movie basically happens, well, what happens in the movie is they create a new position at work called the chief operating officer or something like that, chief managing officer, something like that, some new position
manager, something,
that they want to hire for, and both Lucy and Josh want that position. It's a really good promotion basically, because none of them, like, they don't want to be assistants forever. They want to have more, you know, prestigious jobs, I guess. And they both want to go for this job, so that kind of like fuels a fire under their hatred, quote unquote, of
they
each
already
other.
have this rivalry between each other, so that
because they basically just like bully each other. Like the way they talk to each other, they're just like really mean. So they basically like do this thing where they're like, if I get the job, because whoever gets the job is going to be the other person's boss essentially, so they're like, if I get the job, you have to quit or I'm going to fire you. He's like, okay, if you get the job, I'm going to quit. So it's basically like whoever gets the job, the other person is like leaving and their life is over, whatever. And then how do I even explain like how this plot progresses? Like,
you're gonna recap the whole thing? I thought it was just like the
like the premise, and then obviously it's a romance movie. They fall in love because they realize that they don't actually hate each other. In fact, I mean, spoiler alert, I don't think you would be listening to this podcast if you didn't not want a spoiler, but spoiler alert, Josh never actually hated Lucy the whole time. He is actually in love with her the entire time. Lucy was probably also in love with him too, but just didn't even realize it, because like she does this whole little voiceover thing where it's like it's hard to tell the difference between like hating someone and loving someone, I guess, because they ignite similar feelings of like you know, aggression, I guess. So they end up falling in love, and Lucy gets the job, and Joshua quits, but he gets a better job at a different publisher thing, so everybody wins, and they live happily ever after, with a bunch of other stuff happening in the meantime. But okay, so that's the lowdown on the movie. And I guess, do we just jump in on things that we liked and didn't like,
and things we didn't like? Okay, so I can start because you just talked. So what I liked from the movie, I'll say. Are we doing that? It's like you say, no, I say all the things I liked, and then
how about we'll try to be a little more strict this time. We'll be like, you say everything you liked and I'll say everything I liked, and then we'll move on to things we don't like.
Perfect. Okay, so what I liked, I think the beginning of the movie, I was actually like very entertained. Like I thought like the setup was nice. Like I liked the contrast between the two. Like visually it was appealing. Like you could really tell like, oh, this is the fun company and this is
exactly
one. And I liked how differing their desks were, and like the shots that they did, the single shots, very like aesthetically pleasing, really nice.
Definitely,
and I think like I'll say this is kind of in a more positive light. I guess their banter was like they did their best. Like they were doing what, you know, they did it.
They did it, you know, it was done. It happened.
Like basically it's not their fault. That's what I'm saying. They did what they were supposed to do.
Their fault as in who? Like the actors?
The actors.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
All right.
And I thought Lucy Hale did a really good job. I think she like really embodied the character, and I actually liked the way she brought the character to life, I guess, without saying too much with that. I thought Danny was like a unexpected like delight in the movie. And just for context, Danny is like the, let's say, I wouldn't even call him a second lead. That's not even
like it's kind of just like
a
guy.
Yeah,
dude in the movie, but who, like basically Lucy uses to realize that she likes Josh.
Yeah, she like uses a device to make him jealous. Really. Yeah, but I thought he was really endearing. Like I don't know, every time he came on screen and he was saying stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like actually sweet. He's like kind of cute. Like, you know, I actually felt bad for him. Like, I'm not gonna lie. In the book, I was like, whatever. This one, he actually like had a heart, and I was like, oh, I kind of feel a little bad that she's like using him for, you know, just using him
basically. Just using him.
It's just that. And I thought that's it. I thought the actors, let's say, brought a lot of heart to the material. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, I didn't feel like this is just a paycheck or like whatever. I think they were actually having fun with it, and I felt that in the film. So those are the things that I liked.
Interesting. Yeah. I can honestly, I pretty much was like essentially what my points were too. Like, I think I need to disclaim too that I actually didn't really like the book, The Hidden Game. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the book. I don't think it's like I read it and I was like, I read the whole thing, which is actually saying something, because we've talked about this before, where like if I don't like a book, I'm gonna stop reading it. So like I read the whole book, but like I like rated the book like a 3 stars. It was like, meh, you know. I had a lot of problems with it. So like I was going into this movie expecting to like hate it too. And like, because it's hard for me, like if it's a okay book, like I was not expecting this movie to be like, oh my god, amazing. I was like, unless they like changed everything, I was like, there's no way. But I actually ended up not hating it as much as I thought I would. That's basically like what my consensus is. I actually really agree with you. I thought it was just me. I thought I was going crazy, but like the first half of the movie is like really good. Like I really liked the first half of the movie. Like the like script, like they were like, their banter was like so like quick-witted. Like everything they said, I was like, oh shit, like, you know. And like pretty accurate to the book too, like, you know, all things considered. And I'm not a huge fan of like Lucy Hale as a whole, but I think she did a really good job with the character, and like she fit the description really well of like what the character looks like. Well, actually I remember like I heard something about how like Lucy Hale was like fan casted in the character like ever since the book came out.
I figured
so like it's cool how they actually ended up casting her. And like she can act too. Like I don't know, like I'm not the biggest fan of her, but like she's a decent actress. Like it's not like, you know,
to be fair, I don't really know her body of work like that. So
I was like a Pretty Little Liars stan back in the day.
So. Okay, see, I know that's her biggest. I've only seen her in one other movie, and that movie was probably the worst movie I've ever seen.
The Cinderella one?
No. Oh. No, it's called like Sexology, Monica. Please.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that.
Save yourself.
I haven't seen that.
That is actually like, you know, if I'm saying it's the worst movie ever, and it's like supposed to be catered to me with romance and everything. Can't even talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Go on.
No, I used to watch Pretty Little Liars, and like I wasn't like, man, like I thought she did a whatever job in that one, but like, you know, she did a pretty good job in this one, you know. And like I think as a whole, like I will talk about like how I actually felt about the second half of the movie later, but as a whole, I think they did a decent job of like adapting the book. Like they cut out obviously a lot of like like there was a lot more Josh and Lucy scenes in the book, obviously, like them,
of course,
their like relationship, I guess, like
getting to
developed
know each other
a lot slower in the book, but obviously it's a movie you can't really, and like this is not the type of movie you're gonna have like a 2-hour long movie, like you can't,
of course not.
So this movie was only like an hour and 40 minutes or something, so they obviously had to cut out a lot of stuff, but I think they like did a good job of keeping like the essence of the story. Like they didn't change like a crazy amount of stuff and made it like completely different or anything like that. And you know, I think like in the first half of the movie they did a good job at like making Josh actually like rude, like, you know, because sometimes I feel like they have a problem with that, where like the rival, quote unquote, is not even that bad. Like he's just kind of like it's like annoyed all the time, but he was actually like mean, which makes sense. And I really liked Danny's character too, because in the book Danny's character was kind of like whatever, like he just kind of was annoying to me, like there was nothing special about him. He was kind of just there, but in the movie they decided to make him like an actually like endearing, funny, like kind of like comic relief type of guy, but not in like a demeaning way, but more in like, oh, he's like so like precious, like, you know, kind of way. And I like that too. So yeah, pretty much all the same points as you, but
literally the same. Okay, so let's get into what we
like.
didn't like. I'm sure it's gonna have a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe we could. Are we still gonna go with I say everything and then
maybe
you say
we'll just this one will be more of like an open discussion.
Yeah, like more because it would. Just
we might just end up repeating ourselves, but yeah.
Okay, I am gonna agree with you on. I probably like the book more than you did.
Yeah.
However, as a film person, I actually thought the movie was too similar to the book, and I know the fans are not gonna like that.
But I see what you mean, though. I have something similar in my points, but I'll expand on it later.
I just think some things in books don't, and we know that, just don't translate well.
I literally have that exact sentence written down where I said, this thing does not translate well into movies.
Exactly. So it's like, I know that it's not, I can't even fault them because I know that if they change even like two things, like some of the fans who love this book, so they're like, oh my gosh, like Lucy Hale has green eyes. Like that was literally a comment I've seen on people's thing, and I was like, y'all are stupid. You want her to wear her blue contacts? So you're like, come on, doing too much, right? So I thought, and it's like not that essential to her character. Like they did the same thing with the green eyes, but I'm just saying, like, that's how anal these fans were. So I understand why they didn't do it.
Yeah.
But if it was me, I would be like, shut up. I'm going to get the S. And you guys, people need to understand that you need to somewhat let people do their movie magic. Because To All the Boys, okay, was an adaptation. And they changed like more fundamental things than I would say the Hating Game did. Like pretty... like the way that Peter and Lara Jean had their first kiss, like all that kind of stuff, all different. Yeah. But the essence was there, and it made a really good movie. And I feel like the Hating Game's premise is really fun, really cute.
Right.
And I feel like if they weren't so gung-ho on like, oh, let's give them that closet scene that everybody loves in the book, or let's give them this scene because blah, 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 like, then I think there could have been more payoff. Like I think they spent too much time trying to give these specific scenes, like especially to me, the closet scene to me felt like a waste of time when, like you said, in the movie they don't have that much time to develop their relationship, and that's the time that you could have used to like have them, you know, switch over, because it was a lot of like, we have sexual tension and blah blah. I could see that, but I didn't see a lot of relationship part. Like I wasn't convinced that in this film, or even in the book, no offense, but in this film, I wasn't convinced that, oh, you guys are like meant to be. Like there's like the reason like you guys are actually good together. Like I felt like they spent too much time doing too many of the book things that just wouldn't translate well in a film. That's it.
That makes sense.
Like that's my first point.
I was more on the verge when I was thinking like some things didn't translate well. I think they took, like, in terms of plot points, again, I feel like I can't critique too much like that sort of stuff without literally just critiquing the book. Like it's hard for me to critique a movie when the things that I don't like about the movie are things that are wrong also with the book too.
In the book,
but I think my thing is that I think they took too much script from the book, like too much dialogue from the book. So instead of like changing it a little bit to fit to sound better on screen, they kept some of like the same dialogue from the book, which I thought was really bad.
I agree. Like, it was very cringe,
especially
like
some of like
stuff.
the banter I think was really good. I think the banter was a little bit different from the book, if I recall correctly, like when they were insulting each other.
Is really similar, but still they added more to make it more like flow.
But the one thing they didn't change as much as I wanted them to was the dirty talk in the like some of the
when
things
she says, let's play who can finish faster. Let's say that was some of the line.
The dirty talk that they did in the movie was like pretty much the same as in the book. Like they just maybe took some stuff out, but they didn't change the things that they said. So it just was too cringy for me. Like it was like I remember I don't know if you remember when they kissed outside of his apartment, and then he's like, oh my god, like that sound you just made.
Oh my gosh,
like,
that was
like exactly it just sounds like someone's reading out of a book. Like that's not something someone says out loud. Ever. So I was like, oh no. Like I was like, why they didn't have to keep like the exact
like
dialogue.
Why would you even say that? Like in real life,
book like sex dialogue or like romance dialogue is very different from movie or like
life
stuff that you say in real life. Like you know what I mean? Because in a book, like you have to be extra in a book because you have to like invoke all the feelings possible because you're literally looking at a page. But when someone's actually speaking those words, it does not sound right. And I feel like they should have done a better job at like adapting that dialogue to actually sound okay in real life. Because I was like, oh no, when they were like saying the exact same things, I was like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work.
There's a lot of like the grace that you get with film and not in movies is nonverbal cues, and a lot of times that's way more intimate or cute than like talking. So like I remember there's a scene where I just watched clips like recently, so that's why it's like in my head. There's a scene where she's like you know, he thinks that her date is a fake date, it's not real. Yeah. And then he goes like, are you gonna tell them that, you know, like how menstrual cups work or whatever? And she goes like, no, I'm just gonna tell them I'm not wearing any panties. Do they like that? Like she was, and then she was just like, she turned away. But at least his visual cue to that was just like shock, right? Like his face was just like, oh, like whatever, like, and you can see his wheels turning. Like he's like, she's flirting with me. Like that's what he thinks is going on, right? But if he had something in that moment, it would have made it so bad. Like if he was like, I don't know, I just don't want to imagine what he would have said. But I know, like something
I'm glad silly, they took some stuff out, but like some of the stuff they kept in, I was like, no,
too much.
They were doing too much.
And that's whole, what game are we playing next? Like too many times.
Exactly. That was another thing I was gonna say. Where I know because the whole point in the book, the whole thing with the games in the book was mostly like in her head. Like she was the one coining all the things where it's like we're playing this game, but it wasn't something they said out loud. Like maybe once or twice, but they kind of kept doing it as if they were both aware that they called things these games, and I'm like, that's supposed to be her thing in her head. Like that's her inner monologue, not both of them. And like exactly when you say it out loud, it's weird.
Like she says it out loud in the book once, but he's very much like, what? Like he's not exactly. Like, oh yeah.
He's like, what game? So, like what are you talking about? But like in this one, they're both kind of like, there's like an unspoken thing that they both know that they're playing games, which is not. It's weird. Like the whole point is that like you don't actually you know you're playing games, but you don't call it games
like out
you know
loud. Exactly.
Like it's something like, that she was using in her mind to like keep track of what was going on. She's like, oh, we're playing this game, but the whole point is that the games are like these unspoken things that they do, not actual games that they play, you know,
for sure. And I think that goes to my second point of what I didn't like / a lot of this is like what I think they should have added to. It's like the difference. I felt like they actually needed more narration.
I was gonna say the same thing too. Like they have narration at the beginning, at the end, but they could have used some in like the middle.
Like throughout, like her being like, "Oh, now we're playing the copy game." She explained that in the beginning, and I was like, "Okay, that's good." And then that would have alleviated a lot of the like, I don't know, weird parts that you're talking about,
like the need really to have to talk about it.
Exactly.
Instead, like they could have just done narration.
Narration, and I also think narration would have helped us guide where her emotions were at, because we know where Josh is at. We know that he's been into her, and they actually make it very clear, like he literally watches her while she's like whatever all the time, so you can tell he's at least attracted to her and stuff, but her mind isn't as clear, you know,
especially when like you go from the book where you know exactly what she's thinking the whole time
to the movie. So I feel and especially it's like a very like the film is showing us what he does now, so we know him more, but then we don't know her like per se, like we don't really know what's going through her mind as much, even though she is the main character. Like it's pretty weird that we don't know much about
I think that's feeling. Like one of the trickier parts when you're adapting a book from a movie, because like you're going from knowing someone's every single thoughts to now not knowing at all, and now you're like a third party versus like before when you're in somebody's head. So I think like honestly, I know like they try to avoid a narration when they're adapting books, but I think sometimes it's beneficial to know what they're thinking, because the reason the book is like a good story, or because the reason people like the book, is because you know what they're thinking. So you don't have to have like the whole book them narrating, but or the whole movie them narrating.
Different genres do different things. Like I think obviously if you had narration in the Hunger Games, that would look weird, because it's like this is a very action packed.
I was gonna say because the Hunger Games like hits more with the things that happen versus what she thinks.
Versus when contemporary works like this, especially like romance ones, like it actually can help a lot. Like again, I'm just gonna say To All the Boys did narration.
I was gonna literally say the same thing.
And it was very useful, because it's like I still feel like I know what Lara Jean was thinking at all points in the story.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like they could have done that too because they started it. So it's like,
I thought it was going to continue, but we didn't get narration again until the end. And the end one doesn't even matter. It was just like well, we're good now. Everything's fine now. But okay, this is like, actually, I'll talk about the more serious stuff first, and then I'm gonna go into my like not so serious, but like things that I didn't like.
Little tiny nitpicky,
yeah. But I think, like, as I was saying before, the things I do like, how I really like the first half of the movie, I think the movie kind of like dropped off in the last like half slash like third. I think like literally the script and the acting and the story kind of really fell off in the second half. Like, it's just like, I don't know if like it's because they were rushing or because like, I don't know, or if like they just got lazy writing the rest of the script or something. But especially like the whole wedding part, I think they like, it was such a missed opportunity, because the whole wedding like scene in the book was like the scene where it's like, this is the scene where they realize they really like each other, and it's like all the tension kind of builds to like a point, and then also when they're talking to like the family and the thing. But in the movie it was like not a big deal at all. Like, no, whatever like happened at the wedding was like not even like, it was like whatever, you know. And like, I don't know, like I said, I think it was just a really missed opportunity with the whole wedding scene. Like, it was kind of just like, it looked like it was kind of just thrown in there, versus it's supposed to be like the turning point like in their relationship. But it kind of like they just really watered it down, I think, for the movie, like a little too much for my liking.
Yeah, they definitely did. Like, and I found it so weird, because I found it okay that stuff still happened post wedding, like about the job, like I was okay with the third act misunderstanding twist being actually about the job. I thought that was actually kind of clever for a movie,
right?
But to make the wedding not a turning point, like you just said, like I think this kind of goes to what I also didn't like. There's another point, is the scene where they sleep with each other. Oh my god. We need to dedicate a good 5 minutes to this. Okay. Listen, before that, they're like about to get it on, and then she says, let's just bang one out, like blah blah blah, and he's clearly hurt by that, because he wants something serious with her, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. But then how come 2 minutes later she's at the wedding, and then you're taking your towel off like it's nothing? Like I'm like, they didn't do a good job of like the sequence of events that led to them to eventually sleeping together. Like in the book, it was very clearly described, like the reason they didn't sleep together at first was not because like she said something wrong or whatever in the book. It was literally because he's like, no, I don't want to sleep with you right now, like I'm not just trying to sleep with you, like whatever. And then eventually, I don't want a one and done, basically. He's like, I don't want to just sleep with you, like I just, you know. And then eventually like it builds up, and then at the wedding, that's why it's like there's so much tension that eventually like, okay, fine, like whatever, we'll sleep together finally. But in the movie, they just like, it was weird. It was like they were gonna sleep with each other, and then like she said like, okay, let's just get it over with, and he's like, oh, never mind. And then at the wedding, literally nothing happens, and then he's like, okay, let's sleep together now. Like, what? Like, literally, what changed? Bruh, like, it was so weird. Like, I was like, what? Like, why would even like
one conversation before they slept together could have fixed it. Like, he could have had a little more resistance. You know what I mean? Where he was like, no, like, I think you just want to sleep with me because of the, and she would have been like, no, like I do. I don't know. I'm not a fucking script writer, but like, or like something else.
No, my thing is like, they should have gone to the rehearsal dinner.
Yes.
She should have found out the tea, or you should have had an opportunity for her to show that she is like dedicated to him. And then that's something that he reads, and that's why he changes his mind. Like,
see, anything like that would have made more sense.
Very obvious choice. Like, it was just have weirdly her do placed. Something.
It was weirdly
right.
Placed.
Like, have her do something subconsciously that like shows to him that he's into her, and like that's why he's like, okay, like, you know what, like this is I can no longer resist. But in this one, he was just like, you're wearing red lipstick. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, okay. Okay, like, what?
And that's not even addressing the actual scene, okay?
That's what I meant with the script, where some of
why is this movie rated R, and then you're gonna give us this, okay? And I'm not even talking like steam. I'm talking, this is not romantic at all. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with that one too. Also because, okay, one of my least favorite things in this book, like the book in general, like one of the things that made me hate, like not hate, but like dislike the book, was the way overemphasis on the fact that she's so small and tiny,
and he's so
huge. Ew, I think that's so disgusting. I hate when books do that. Like, there's so many books that do that, and it's actually like, it makes me gag. Like, I think it's like the weirdest thing that, like, why are you so obsessed with the fact that the girl is tiny and the guy's huge? Like, it's giving weird. But
it is weird.
I was thinking that in this movie they dropped it. I was like, thank God that they're not mentioning this too much. Like, they're not really addressing it. They're not, because in the book it happens, like, it's literally constantly addressed. Like, they're constantly like, oh my God, you're so tiny, oh my God, he's so big. Ew. So in the movie I was like, thank God they took it out. Thank God I don't have to listen to that shit. But then in the scene where they sleep together, she's like, no, like, what are you doing? I want to feel your weight. He's like, no, I'm gonna crush you. It's just like, it's okay.
Oh,
like,
that.
You know what I mean? And I was like, no, you were doing so well. So it just ruined it for me. I was like, ew, stop.
Really? I didn't even, that didn't even bother me, because I just was like, what?
Yeah, no, I just,
what is going on?
I just thought, like the whole scene was, like, not very well done. It was not very,
it wasn't
like,
well done.
It wasn't.
I don't think that line, though, specifically,
like, I don't know, like,
bothered
maybe
you. If it was well done, though, still,
like, if the scene as a whole was, like, actually well done and, like, whatever, I would have been like, whatever, fine, it's just one thing, it's not the end of the world. But because the scene wasn't good in the first place, that just was like the nail in the coffin. And I was like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like, not to sound like a 40-year-old woman in the romance section of, like, a bookstore, but, like, if you're gonna have a sex scene in your movie, you gotta get, because this is my thing, a little, you know. I
would have preferred a fade to black if they built it up. Like, I don't need to see nudity. I don't care. I don't need to see it. But I don't need to
put it. It better be good. You know what I mean?
Good. But I don't want to see. Like, I literally did not need to see cheek from this man. I didn't need to see it.
See, like, I guess I'm different. Where it's like, I don't mind that if you do it well. If it's not gonna be
I'm saying, like,
hot,
I'm fine with it, but I didn't need cheek for you to do this. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No,
I felt like they were like, oh, we gave you cheek, so then we don't need to give you romance. Excuse me.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Or I'm like, if you're gonna put cheek in there, it better be a really good scene. Is all I'm trying to say.
Like, why are you giving me cheek, and then you're giving me hike up my skirt? No foreplay. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Nope. Exactly. It's
that was scary. Like, I was watching it with my roommates.
Oh my God.
And we were literally like, did they just do
yeah, no,
because we were confused.
It's just not, it wasn't, it didn't get, because the whole point of the book and the whole point of the story is that they just have so much, like, tension. And they just, in the movie, they didn't do a good job at, like, you know,
like, they were building it up only to do this.
Yeah. Very anticlimactic.
So anticlimactic.
And yeah, I guess this kind of, like, that was kind of the end of, like, my super serious thing. So I guess on this note, I can go into, like, my things that are less serious. Okay, listen, I have very mixed feelings about the actor who plays Josh.
The guy, yeah.
If he didn't open his mouth, I'd be like, sure, you know, like, fine. He looks the part. Okay, actually, first, let me say one point that I've been meaning to say for a while. In the very beginning of the movie, she says in her little very, very beginning narration, one of the reasons I hate Josh Templeton, number one, I've never seen him smile before.
Yep.
10 minutes later, he smiles. I'm like, what? Yeah. That's literally what? You just established a point and then you threw it away within 10 minutes. And that was my main, like, that was what really started my dislike for the guy who played him. Like, no offense to him, maybe that's what, like, they told him to do, but I was like, the whole point of Josh as a character in the book especially is he's, like, very stoic, like, literally never smiles, literally seems like the most miserable person you've ever seen in your life. Like, he's hot, but he's, like, just, like, the worst, like, literally like a stick in the mud, doesn't smile, speaks, like, monotone all the time. But they made this guy, like, so, like teasing and, like, playful and whatever, and I was like, that's fine, but that's not him. Like, it's not supposed to be what it's like. And you could have done that. You could have been like, you know what, we're gonna make the Josh in this movie a little more, you know,
because it could come off like too bullying-y exactly screen, perhaps,
but you can't establish in the very beginning that he's gonna be stoic and gonna be completely emotionless, and then do what you did.
Just
what? Like either you do it or you don't. Like you can't lie about it. You can't just be like, I have never seen Joshua Templeton smile, and then 3 minutes later he's laughing at her. Like what? That is not it. Like that's not how it works.
It's so weird because it's also like they made Lucy's character more spunky, I'd say, compared to the books. Like she was pretty like,
I think she's more spunky and less weird. I think in the book she's more weird.
Yeah, and I actually like that, and I was like, it works better too, because I felt like in the book it was a little too bullying. Like I was like, it's really just him being like, you suck. And I can't, like, you know, like, so it's like, this is better.
Yeah, but they didn't fix him.
Doesn't,
where it was like they weren't. I feel like they just weren't sure where they were gonna go with him, because in the narration she's literally like, I've never seen him smile. He's so terrible, whatever. And then like the next minute he's like, haha, like whatever. Like he's like, you know,
snicker.
He's like snicker, literally. Like I wish I could, like, I wish this was a video where we could like insert a clip, but literally like with the timestamps where she's like from when she says he never smiles to when he literally the subtitles literally was like say like laughs smugly or whatever it is, like snickers I guess, or like scoffs I guess, whatever it is, where he's just like and he like smiles a little, and I'm like, what? It's literally been 2 minutes. Like you just lied in the first 2 minutes of the movie. Like so that was kind of my problem with him. I feel like I wasn't crazy about the way Josh, like I said, the look, like his physical appearance, A1. I think I was like, you know what, this is kind of what I imagined, where this guy who's like, you know, objectively good looking, but he's like a type A, like super like whatever.
Yeah.
But this is just me and I feel really bad, but like I'm very picky with like voices. Like especially with like,
my gosh, his
hot
voice is
guys. If you're hot and then you open your mouth and your voice is like, hey guys, I'm gonna be like, no. And this is something I really noticed when because I watched this movie twice actually, because I really was like, I'm really determined to like really get the essence of this movie, because sometimes I can be blinded in the first watch where I'm like, oh my god, but by the second half of my second watch I was like, wow, I really don't like his voice. His voice is not sexy at all.
Honey.
He speaks like he's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know how to explain it. But like his voice is not hot at all. And it just really throws me off, because he looks really hot, but then his voice is not. So I'm just like, oh my God. Like
Monica, I 100% me and my roommate watched the trailer for the first time. We were very doubtful of the movie because we're like, he sounds not.
Like it sucks because it's like, it's not like he can control it, but like, but his voice is just not sexy enough for me. I'm sorry.
This is not nice, but they do that. Other actors have lowered their voices for roles.
That's true.
Like everybody knows Stephanie. What's her name? The girl who plays in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but was also the voice of
Beatrice,
Encanto.
or whatever her name is.
Beatrice, thank you. She lowered her voice for the role in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you can obviously hear she sounds completely different in real life. Like that's how she sounds. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
I think he could have.
You know what I really want to do? I really want to insert like a voice clip of him talking, because I feel like people need to understand.
You know what, girl? If you can do it, you can get the audio.
I'm gonna do it, because I think like it's gonna sound crazy, but I need people to hear what he sounds like.
Hear what it is. Yeah. But you know who they casted first, which is bad.
Robbie Amell.
Yes, I had that in mind.
Oh my God, it should have been Robbie Amell. I'm so sorry to this man, but it should have been Robbie Amell.
It really should. I could tell that it was for him.
Yeah, that was like the original fan cast. It was Lucy Hale and Robbie Amell. Although I don't know if Robbie Amell would like, I don't know. Like I still think this guy like fits the physical description really well, but I do think Robbie Amell could have like adapted the character.
Like I actually like him as an actor better.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Robbie Amell.
That's what I was saying in the beginning, where I think if this dude just didn't open his mouth, I would have been like, wow, excellent, perfect adaptation. But then he starts talking and I'm like, oh no. no.
Because I feel like Robbie Amell would have been really good with the banter, not gonna lie. He would have been quick. Like this man could be quick with it. And I feel like he would have done a better stoic face, because he tends to act with his eyebrows. I don't know how else to say it, but it's true. He acts with his brows, so I feel like he could have done different expressions just with the brows without like smiling, and it would have worked. You know? Sorry.
You know what? I'm gonna insert a clip of this guy talking so you can hear what we mean. so we don't think that we're insane. So clip here.
I'm so sorry.
I don't want to be some experiment before you settle down with Mr. Right. And I'm not going to put my hands on you again unless you tell me that nobody kisses you like I do.
Yeah, now you know what we're talking about. Hopefully. Now that you listen to that clip, hopefully you understand where we're coming from. Again, I'm sorry to this man, but like, I'm very big on voices. I don't know what it is. Like, I need, if you're going to be hot, your voice has to match.
Yeah. It's a lot. Okay, I know we said we wouldn't do too much book thing, whatever, but
yeah,
I have to say, and I know everyone's gonna so disagree with me. They're gonna take it. I was hoping they would take the eye thing out completely.
I wish, and wish
also the
they
Mark
took that
stuff.
thing out. I was so disappointed when they kept that in because that was one of my least favorite things about the book.
And the marking things, I was hoping they would take out all that stuff. Okay, y'all, what is wrong with you? That's creepy. That's so creepy.
I don't know what, because that's one of the things where, like, when I was reading the book for the first time, or I only read it once, but like when I was reading it, I was like, okay, like, you know, it's kind of cute, whatever. And like I didn't really deep it, like I didn't really think critically about it enough until I saw someone else being like, isn't it so weird that like he painted his walls her eye color before they even like when he literally just met her? And I was like, yeah, wait a minute.
So, like, and the markings weren't even like cute. Like, what is cute about him writing a D every time you wear a dress? Ew.
I don't understand. Like, also, yeah, like I get it. Like, she also remembers the colors of a shirt, but she doesn't like write it down. Like, she doesn't keep track or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
it's giving like
it's giving like you're gonna sit there and think about it later at night, like right? She's wearing a dress.
Ew. Like it's giving like they tried to do the trope of like, oh, I can tell you wear dresses when you feel good, and you wear, you know, you put your hair up when you're nervous. It's like it's giving that, but like they did it too far. Like
it just didn't do anything. Like it's like, okay, so why are you keeping, like I get, okay, like even though it's still weird, I kind of get where he would be coming from. Like, oh, I wrote an X every time I wanted to kiss you, where he's like,
that's fine.
He's like, I literally like to keep track of like my feelings for you, and like, you know, sometimes, you know, if he's like too busy bullying her, I guess he doesn't want to get lost in that thing.
Like he's like type A, so maybe he has a habit tracker, but
whatever. But the whole dress thing, I was like, huh, like why?
And dress, like skirt, blah blah blah, like bruh,
I don't even know. Like I get, like I think if they had just been the markings for like every time I want to kiss you, and like they foreshadowed it before, like when they were talking at one point, he was like writing in his journal in that thing, and I would have been like, okay, I guess like it is kind of weird, but I'd be like, you know what, fine, whatever.
No, just because like when I want to kiss you, that's an organic feeling, and I could have been like, oh, he's just doing it to like kind of like distract himself, like he's like, oh yeah, I have to write it down to like because it's just a mark, right? So he's like, the mark helps me like chill out or something,
exactly, whatever. Or like just like sometimes I get too caught up in like bullying you that I forget that I actually really like you, or whatever it is. Exactly. Like I said, it wouldn't have been weird, but like I don't know, I that was one of the things that I really hated about the book, where it was like, why did you have to cross into creepy territory, you know?
It is, and it's like the problem is that part happens at the end in both scenarios. It's like very much third act. You don't find out he feels that way until way later, and I'm like, this is the third act reveal? Like this is what I'm like I think the reveal that he's been in love with you from the beginning is enough. Like, isn't that already a lot? Like,
not like he's been obsessed with you since the beginning. Like that's like, oh, then it's like, okay, so why were you bullying her so much? Like, what? If you were that obsessed with her, like, come on.
Like, it's weird.
Even then, they literally showed them meeting for the first time in this book, in the movie, I mean.
Yeah, they did.
Where she was like, hi, I bought you a plant. And he was like, ugh, like, didn't even, like, look at her. And I'm like, you expect me to believe he went home and painted his walls her eye color? Like, what? Come on. I know men act weird sometimes, but I don't think they do that.
They don't think that. And this is my point. I'm going to go on a small rant.
Go ahead.
I hate the trope. Oh, actually, you guys will find this out real soon. But I hate the trope when they make it like he was in love with her the whole time. Why?
Yeah.
Who cares when he started liking you? Is this really important?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's cute. Like, oh, sure, if he liked you first, or like it's been a minute, like he's been attracted to you. But I don't like this whole, oh, I've been in love with you this whole time, but like for some reason I didn't tell you for years. And instead of acting like a normal person, I bullied you. What?
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that was on, like, that's basically the essence of the book. And like, I was just like, like okay, whatever. Like
I would be more okay if he's like, oh, I've always found you attractive, but I you're too opposite to me, so that's why like I like, you know, because I can see that opposites attract type of tension, like when two people are very different and they are in a work environment, so she works really differently than he does, so it could be like, oh, we have this rivalry more of like, you know, you do it your way, I do it my way, but I don't like it, but I still find you attractive. Yeah, but
or like maybe he only started realizing he liked her like a few months ago, not like the entire time they've known each other.
Yes,
because then it's like, why? Because then, like, you know, I guess like sometimes when like you start getting attracted to someone that you know you probably shouldn't be, like you get like angry and you're like, oh, like, I'm so frustrated, like why do I even like her, like you know, I shouldn't like her, like she's so different, the way she acts is so annoying, whatever. Like that would make sense if like in the past few months that's why you had kept up the act of like, you know, fighting with her,
or even a year, because like, okay, we work together, I can't just pivot real quick because now we're in this rivalry, so I'ma just, you know,
exactly because it's like, you know, we've had this rivalry this whole time, now I'm starting to realize maybe I have feelings for you, but it's like, oh, like I can't, like you're literally so annoying, and like, sorry, I just dropped something. You're literally so annoying, and we're in work, so it's like, what am I gonna do, like fucking confess to you? No, I'm gonna keep this banter going and I'll just keep it to myself, whatever. That would make sense. But to be like, oh, I actually loved you this entire time, and like, you know, when he says like at the end, you know what he says at the end, where he's like, oh, she's like, oh, my parents own a strawberry farm. He's like, yeah, and I'm gonna call you Shortcake. That'll be a dead giveaway that I love you. I was like, huh? This is like, are you in the 4th grade? Like I'm so confused, because that's actually a little bit different from the book. Like in the book, he just says like, oh, I already knew that you had a strawberry farm, so I literally called you Shortcake to make fun of you. Because it didn't have anything to do with loving her. So I was like, okay.
But I think he said something silly like that too, though, in the book. Not gonna lie.
Probably not. I haven't read it. It's been a few months since I've read it, but
something about like, it's I don't know.
I just know that they discussed the strawberry farm earlier in the movie. In the book,
I think he said, "Oh, I didn't want you to come to my room because I thought it would be a dead giveaway." That like,
but I'm talking about the strawberry shortcake.
Yeah, the shortcake thing.
And thinking in the book, but he just calls her Shortcake literally to make fun of her because she.
But I'm like, listen, bud, if you can't have her in your room because you're scared she's gonna realize that's scary.
Then maybe you're a little creepy.
You need to get that checked out.
See, and the thing is, maybe what if he had painted the room that color, maybe like not that long ago or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, again, if he had realized later on that he liked her, and he's like, I can't like stare at your eyes at work because that would be too obvious, so I'm just gonna paint my room that color, fine. And like, if he went into her room, if she went to his bedroom, he's like, oh, I really like this color, and he's like, oh yeah, like I repainted it like a few weeks ago or like a few months ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, maybe that's a little better, but like, to have that be the color of your room literally forever, like since you've known her, that is weird.
Or it could be just like, you know, something smaller. Like I prefer subtlety when it comes to love. Like I think it's way cuter than like, I agree. Something normal, like when people go like, what's your favorite color? And maybe he's always said it's brown or something, and then all of a sudden he's like blue, and she's like, what, your favorite color is blue since when? Like, or green, or
maybe this is a long shot, maybe this is not realistic at all, but maybe he painted that room that color without even realizing that it was the same color as her eyes.
Like a subconscious
where
thing.
He was like, I don't know, I just really like this color, and then like maybe one day he's looking at her eyes and he's like, oh, your eyes are the same color. That's why, like, for some reason this color really like stood out to me or whatever. That would have been cool, like, you know, where he's like,
that would have been way better.
Where he's like, damn, like I really have loved you for a really long time, you know, like I feel like, or he's like, maybe like after he met her, totally unrelated incident, he's going to look at colors to find out what to paint his room, and he's like, oh, this is a really nice color, like, I don't know what it is, but this green is really like standing out to me. And then when he actually realizes he's in love with her, he's like, oh, it's because it's the same color as your eyes, that's why it stood out to me. So maybe I did subconsciously like have feelings for you this whole time, you know what I mean? Like there's different ways you could go about it,
like the Tangled effect.
Like, and that's the thing, you could have kept the essence, you could have kept the plot point of him having the same colored wall as her eyes, but without the creepiness. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to take that whole thing out. Like, you know, there's a way to make it a little more romantic.
Exactly. Like, I swear that happens all the time. There's just ways to make things less scary.
I'm just sorry, I'm getting carried away here, but like, then you could put a scene like kind of like in the middle-ish of the movie where you see him like really staring into her eyes for a little bit, and he's like kind of realizing, he's like, oh, and then like towards the end, like he knows now that it's the same color, but he's like, oh shit, I didn't realize. And then at the end of the movie, you can keep that exact same scene where like they finally say that like they have feelings, and he's like, let me show you something. And then he brings her to her room and he's like, do you notice that this color matches your eyes? And he's like, yeah, I painted this like months ago, but I didn't even know. So like clearly I liked you for a really long time and I didn't even realize. You know what I mean?
Like I'm longer than I even knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
So there's ways you can do it without keeping the creepy stuff. Like I feel like they just like were like, let's just keep it in because it's an iconic scene in the movie. Like you can change it a little bit.
And to be fair, like I said, I understand you want to get your check from the people who are obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And it's clearly a small release film.
It wasn't a very widely like, it was a big thing. So
I'm thinking like big release, how to get this to be like a kind of a classic. Like you could have brought back, I'm always trying to bring back the early 2000s vibes of rom-coms, and this was not, we're not close.
Yeah.
We're not
but again, like as a whole, I feel like I didn't dislike it.
No,
like
it's
it wasn't bad. Like I you know, it could have been way worse. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
exactly. Yeah, it actually was way better than I thought.
Well, yeah. The fact that I sat through it twice is probably enough to, you know, tell you that it's not bad. Like I know there's things about the movie that I didn't like, but it wasn't a bad movie.
And I actually said sometimes. Like when he put the flower again, I said in the book too. When he put the flower, the rose on her desk and she realized it's him and he was like, like I hope you're feeling better, and he leaves like
I know. Like there's some good moments in the movie. Like I like although I don't like what he said where he's like, oh, that sound you make, like the part where she meets him outside his apartment and he's like, so like did you kiss Danny? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, and she's like, I'm not gonna be dating him anymore. And he's like, why? Like I thought that was cute, and I was like, oh,
it was cute. I like that he was like, do you think he's home? Like
do you think he's like, what? Wow.
Because she was like gonna text him like, are you home or whatever, and then she erased it and she was just standing there like not knowing what to do, and then, you know, obviously he comes up
yeah,
and then he's like, oh, do you think he's home, like as a joke. I don't know why I thought it was
cute, no, I like some of them, like it was pretty cute at the end, and like you said, like I in general I don't really like misunderstandings or whatever, but like I like that this one was like quick, like they kind of just got it out of the way. Like I didn't it was like a really short misunderstanding, and like they actually I think they changed it a little bit from the book where like the misunderstanding wasn't really a misunderstanding. It was like they were purposely not telling her because they wanted her to like have the drive or whatever. I don't know if it was like that in the book. I think in the book she genuinely like it was just a misunderstanding. I could be wrong though.
No, in the book she didn't even like, that wasn't even a thing. Like it was before the wedding. Like he said something about it. She was like, ew, that's mean, and he's like, don't worry about it. Like I was just saying that because what's his name is an a-hole. So that was not even a
like they changed it a little bit in the movie. But at least the misunderstanding wasn't just like, oh, oops, we just didn't communicate properly. It was literally just like, no, we were purposely keeping this from you because we knew that if you like you needed the push or whatever. So that made it a little bit better.
I preferred that over, well, no offense, what happened in the book, because in the book their fight was like stupid.
No,
like she was like,
agree.
You dated Mindy? And I was like, why are you mad at him? Yeah, like this man just had his girl go date his brother. Like, I felt like her reaction in the film made way more sense, where she was like, yo, this is not your fault. Like both of them are weirdos.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird.
No, it is like,
yeah,
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at least the misunderstanding in this case didn't bother me as much as it usually does. Because they kind of made it better where it was like clearly like fighting with him gives you like the push, because you like, you know, because some people just need like that push, like competition, like they're really competitive and it's hard for them to have like the motivation, and like obviously the CEO who's worked with her for so long is like, you work best when you're literally trying to like beat him. So it's like I purposely didn't tell you that he quit because I wanted you to, because I believed
like
in you.
So
I think that was pretty good.
That was good. Last thing I think I also liked, oh my gosh, I just forgot it. No, it was there. Oh, I also liked, this is what I didn't like in the book. I love how we said we're not gonna do that.
I know it's hard.
In the book they kept emphasizing that being a nice guy was like a bad thing. Like he just kept being like, oh, I'm not a nice guy. Like
he's very much like, I'm not like other guys type of thing.
And she was like, Danny's a nice guy. Like I love that they cut that out mostly, definitely. And that it was only in the end they actually rewarded him. Like she actually said like, I actually think you're a really nice guy, like at the end. And I thought that was good. Like it's like the fact that he resents nice guys is a flaw. So why are we
like in the book,
why
like,
are we trying to make it seem like it's endearing? Like, no, this is a trauma he has. He needs to fix this.
Yeah, like, in the book he was definitely way more of like a weirdo. Like,
yes,
like he was just weird. And at least in this one, like he wasn't as weird. Like they kept a few weird things that he did in here, but like he was definitely more like heartwarming in terms of like like, I don't know. I feel like they were almost there with him. Like, I feel like they were almost
Yes.
there into making him a really good adapted character where they actually fixed the things that were wrong, where he wasn't too much of like a, you know, internalized men phobic. Like, I don't know what it's called, you know, where he's like, oh, these nice guys. You know, when guys are always like, I'm not like,
yeah,
nice
it's
guys
giving,
finish last.
He's really giving, it was giving
Incel.
like reverse incel, like
Kind of, yeah.
like internalized misogyny.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I think I did write that
this?
down where I said, oh, in the book, he was way more incel energy, and they like fixed that.
Yes.
I do have a note where it literally says that. So yeah, I like that, and I feel like
Good.
if they had just made a couple more tweaks, he could have been a really good like romantic lead where it was like,
interest.
he's genuinely just like a grumpy dude who's literally just like competitive or like type A or whatever, but then he softens
and like
up.
he kind of doesn't know how else to express himself.
Exactly,
but, like
exactly.
you saw that he tried a lot, like with the flowers. And stuff.
Exactly. So I think they were almost there with him, and that's kind of why like I like the movie in general, because like it was almost there. Like I feel like if just a few more tweaks, and it would have been like I would have really enjoyed it.
Yes.
So, but I just enjoyed it. Like I didn't really enjoy it, but I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
like,
yeah,
I had a fun time. That's what I'll say.
it was
That's
fun.
what
It's a fun movie.
It is fun.
You know, it's cute. I wouldn't advise against watching it. Like I would have been like, I wouldn't tell someone like, no, don't watch it. It's bad. I'd be like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably watch, like, if I were to rewatch, I'd watch it up to the 30 minutes, and then up to the like where the 30-minute part starts being bad. I would kind of skip that, like the wedding.
Well, when I rewatched it, I kind of was like skipping through the wedding a little bit because the wedding part's a little boring. And then just kind of skip
the
towards
speech
the
with the
end.
dad, bruh,
Ugh,
way too
yeah,
long.
no, that's fine.
Way too long. Anyways.
Yeah, but in general, I thought it was decent.
Yes.
Decent movie.
So what grade would you give it?
So I gave it a B.
Okay.
I don't know if that's kind of how I felt about it. It's a B.
Yeah, I got a B too.
Okay.
So yeah. Exactly.
Like it's good.
In the middle.
Not excellent,
Yeah.
but it's good.
Yeah.
Things
Like,
could be improved.
I think, like I said, I think the actors had fun, and I could see that, and I could see that
definitely.
there was like, they actually enjoyed it. The script itself.
Yeah.
But
they had good chemistry, you know.
They did. I wasn't like not convinced. Like I said, there were parts where I literally went off.
Exactly. Like I remember the very first time I watched it, in the first half, I was like, oh my god, like I was like squealing and stuff. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, ew. But
the feels.
Yeah. I think it's a B movie.
Yes.
B movie.
Exactly. This is bad. Lucy Hale, this is one of your better movies, and that's
yeah. Unfortunately.
Girl.
But yeah, I think it's a cute like little romance. You know, I'm all for, you know, we're all for just putting out more romance movies in general.
Of course.
Romantic comedies.
Always. It's sad actually that this is the month of February and like there's not that many coming out. Which
there is
kinda
that
upsetting.
one, Marry Me.
Oh girl.
I just cannot wait to watch it just to see how bad it's gonna be.
You know what, Monica? You know what's the bad thing? I was like, this isn't terrible, but because I just know it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, if you had showed me this in the early 2000s, I would have been like, this is gonna be great.
Exactly.
But now that I know where I'm at and where we are, I'm like, oh my god.
I just know there's gonna be too many like too many like trying to be like woke, not woke, but like too many like trying to be modern. How do I explain this? Like, I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna be on TikTok at some point in this movie. You know what I mean? Like just some shit like that.
Yeah. Girl.
That's why
I couldn't even finish
it.
her last rom-com the other day. Second Act or whatever that was.
I don't know. Like I have mixed feelings about her and rom-coms in general. I like The Wedding Planner, but all her other ones I'm like,
I know you did. I did not like that one. I only liked her in, which is barely a rom-com, What to Expect When You're Not Expecting.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she did well.
I don't really like her in that one either, honestly. I don't know if I really like her as an actress.
I have no fights
She was give about that. But anyways, that's a different story. If you're going to watch Marry Me this weekend, have fun. That's all I can say. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for something a little different, maybe more lighthearted to watch this Valentine's Day, well, again, Valentine's Day already passed if you're listening to this, but
yes,
it's never over. You know, you could be romantic any time of the year. Check out The Hating Game. It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's cool.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. I guess that's the end of our roasting movies by the fire. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day, whether you're single, ready to mingle, not ready to mingle, or in a relationship, whatever it is.
All of it is cool.
Hope you had fun. Hope you had a good weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week. Remember to subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Follow us on Instagram, Flick Chicks Pod. Follow us on TikTok @the Flick Chicks. You know the drill.
Yes.
You know the
do
drill.
it all.
And
all right.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.